Okay, another review for you today. Kind of got in the mood for doing quite a lot of these, so thought I'd review my favourite so far, TM pistol, which is quite a statement because I've owned pretty much almost all of them now, except the really old ones and classic special edition ones. I've owned most basic TM pistols at some point, and yeah. This is my favourite, and as you can tell, it's the PX4 Storm. Great pistol. As usual, though, start with the box. It's got a similar box to, if you've seen my P226E2 review, quite an old review. I admit they're not, the quality isn't as great as newer ones. I mean, like film quality. I'm not sure if they're HD or not, and I don't think I was knowledgeable back then about them. But still, it comes in a similar box to that. Nice red detailing, silver box. Inside, you obviously get your normal paperwork, which has got the always useful breakdown guide somewhere in here. Not breakdown, but disassembly kind of exploded view is what I'm trying to say. This I'll get onto later, something I bought separately. Space for the magazine, of course. It's always nice that in TM boxes you can fit the pistol with a magazine and an extra magazine, and you get these back straps. You also get your BBs and unjamming rod as usual. Yeah, back straps are always a nice touch. That extends it to the point where I find it uncomfortable, and this one makes it a lot smaller. Again, I have small hands, so normally the small back strap would be my choice, but in this example, I don't find it particularly comfortable, but I can show you those. I might start with the back straps actually. Obviously here's the PX4, you get a standard magazine, 25 rounds. Back straps are very easy to change out. Unlike the XTs where you have to push out a pin, this is simply depressing the base, pull it off. As I said, the larger one I find uncomfortable. Let's push it on like that. Yeah, the large one adds these kind of bulges to the side that really don't mate well with the rest of the frame. If you can see here, they kind of stick out, quite not sharp, but not comfortable. I really don't like the feel of that. It actually makes it too sort of fat to almost do the levers, just about, but yeah. If you've got massive hands, you might need that, but otherwise stick with the normal. It also comes with a small back strap, which changes the profile of the grip to make it look very similar to a P226E2, in that it has the profile is a bit different. It has the hump there, and then it goes straight. It's kind of like some modern pistols have. I found it very comfortable on the E2. It's kind of comfortable, but it almost makes my hand too much of at a right angle. Rather than sweat back, it kind of tucks my hand in a bit too much, stops the gun pointing so well, so I generally keep the standard one on. But yeah, really nice addition. They're made out of good plastic. Something to make note of is that I believe there's actually a slight colour difference. The smaller one almost looks a bit grayer. Not sure if it's meant to be like that. It's probably a manufacturing process. Just couldn't produce them quite right. Anyway, so here's the PX4. They call it the PX4 Custom for trademark reasons, I guess. Not that that really matters in Japan, but yeah. First thing you might notice, the fact that it isn't standard. It's got the 9-ball magazine base plate on it, which I've got over here. Very cheap, only about £5. $8 from eHobby Asia. It just adds a extended magazine bumper, which I think just looks really cool. Makes it look a lot more chunky. It's also slightly rubberized, so maybe for skirmishing it'd be a bit easier to take out of your pocket. The standard base plate is just ABS plastic, as you'd expect from a TM. It kind of fits, it integrates nicely with the frame, but it just looked a bit too boring for me. I always like to switch things around a bit. And I think this looks really good, especially since it's quite a compact pistol, makes it look really chunky. Yeah, definitely happy with how that looks. 9-ball, also known as Lilacs, they're all the same company. They sell these either singular ones, like I got, and I think only eHobby Asia sells them on their own, or they sell them in packs of threes for about £15, so they're cheap enough to put on all your magazines. So magazine's metal as you'd expect, 9mm markings, witness marks, witness holes, pretty much standard, nicely made. And it's 25 BB magazine. I encountered a couple of feeding issues that it wasn't, so occasionally it would jam and stop feeding. I just kind of sanded the inside of the feed lips and it seems to have solved that issue. I'm not sure if it's a common thing, or with a part like this it's quite easy for it to be moulded slightly incorrectly, so it might have been that, but something to watch out for. Magazine inserts nicely as you'd expect. If I'll go over some of the features of the pistol, starting from the front, I normally would. As you can see, the muzzle end's quite cool looking. It's just slightly different to what else is out there. Nice rifling marks inside the outer barrel, make it look a bit more realistic. Slide is plastic as you'd expect, and it has a nice finish. It's as you can see, it's slightly different colour to the frame, slightly different texturing, which makes it look very realistic. It's kind of like the newer TMs. This is kind of a newer one. It's been out a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Probably 2 years now, yeah. But definitely looks very realistic. It's almost a dusty kind of finish, and it's a very good plastic, very good grade of plastic. Nice serrations at the front. I don't normally cock from the front, but maybe if you do, nice to have those there. Outer barrel is of course plastic, very durable though. Never seen any issue with PX4 slides or barrels breaking. I'll show you the reinforcement later. PX4's got a really nice sleek design. Got some trademarks here, PX4 Custom, so semi-realistic. It should say Storm, but never really bothered me. Better than no trademarks at all. And we've got a little serial number there. Extractor's nicely moulded, almost looks like a separate piece, which it isn't, but it's all moulded together. And we have more serrations at the back, which you could use, but I find it's much easier to grab the decocker. Put your fingers like this over the safeties. Get a really solid grip on those. Front sight is metal, which is always nice, and it is, I believe, dovetailed in. I'm not sure. I couldn't see a screw underneath, so I assume they're dovetailed in. There's a slight imperfection in the moulding on the front sight. I just noticed, as you can see, a little bit of a flash on the end there, but I didn't notice it before, so it's not really an issue. And it's got a nice clear white dot. I love clear white dot sights, which this has perfect examples of. There you go. Yeah, I love the sights on this. One of my favourite things, those clear dots. So yeah, plastic slide. It's got metal reinforcement at the front. So I'll just show you. This section here is metal, and it's got quite a big buffer on the recoil rod, so shouldn't have a problem with durability. Green gas capable, I'm not sure. I'd say yes, because it seems very solidly built. I have used green gas a little bit. I don't have a long-term report on this. I only bought it last month, but so far very durable, although I personally stick to a mid-powered gas just to make sure it lasts as long as possible. But yeah, it definitely seems one of TM's tougher designs. As we go back, we've got nice detailing for the blocking, for the firing pin safety, so if you drop the gun, that ensures it won't go off. And then we move back to our rear sight. I'm tempted to get some night sights for these, just because it'd be cool for them to glow in the dark, but they're quite expensive. But metal rear unit, as I said, very nice clear white dots. Some of the nicest out of the box pistol sights I've come across so far. Line up nicely. Yeah, great skirmish pistol. Then we get something that sort of makes it a little different to a Glock or any other striker-fired kind of design, is a safety decockers, which kind of signature of Beretta. You expect to see those on a lot of their designs. As you can see, I've modified mine. Out of the box, it acts as a safety and a decocker, which means if the gun was cocked, you'd push it down, it would decock the hammer and disconnect the trigger, and it would stay in the down position until you flick it up. Then you're ready to fire again. That represents the Type F Beretta PX4 pistol, which is a safety slash decocker. I took out, there's a little detent, there's a little pin that sort of locks in to keep it in position. I removed that, which effectively changes this into a Type G PX4, which is decocker only, which I prefer. So you'd get your loaded magazine, load your chamber, and then push it down, decock, and it automatically springs back up so you're ready to use it. Turning it into something that's a little bit more like a SIG pistol. Decocker only, that's just how I like it. I don't really find a need for manual safety. Just sort of gets in the way. So yeah, metal decockers, nice to use. They were a little bit stiff to begin with, but they've loosened up. A little bit of grease or oil, it's fine, and they have red dots. So you'll probably choose to keep the safety on there. Most people would probably prefer that, but it's easy enough to remove them if you prefer a decocker. At the rear, we get something different to most polymer pistols, polymer frame pistols, which is it's hammer-fired. It's a traditional double-action, single-action hammer-fired pistol. The hammer's nicely cast. A lot of older TMs, like the high cap, have kind of mould lines on the hammer, but this one's not bad at all. Nice and crisp hammer. Very light trigger pull. The hammer doesn't actually move that much. It kind of just goes from there to there. I'm not sure if that's realistic. It doesn't sit as far forward in the gun as I would have thought. It kind of rebounds. It doesn't really move much, but that's all right. No problem with the hammer. It's kind of skeletonized, which looks good, and it's got nice, nice texturing or serration. Sorry. On the back of the slide here, you can see it's got a bit of the. Let's see if I can focus. You can see here you've got a bit of the blowback unit poking through, which is kind of a cheap, not cheap, but it's a cast metal. It's a little rough, which doesn't look great. It's a shame they didn't kind of polish that off or make it look a bit better. But still, it's not something you really notice. And inside there, we've got our mechanism for the decockers. Down there, the silver you can see is the valve knocker, so that's where the hammer hits. And that pretty much covers most of the slide. Oh, except, quite important thing, is the rotating barrel. Sorry about that, the sun kind of disappeared just then. Anyway, as I was saying, something that definitely makes this unique is the rotating barrel system. Plastic barrel, as you'd expect. Got nice trademarks on it with the matching serial number. Something that makes it different is it's not a dropping link sort of barrel. It's not locked at the chamber like a normal gun. It actually rotates. So you can see here. So that chamber, that locking sort of portion, slides out of the way to allow the barrel to unlock. So that's pretty cool. It obviously doesn't have much of a bearing on the Airsoft version. On the real one, it would reduce recoil because there isn't that kind of flip of the barrel dropping. Chamber dropping. It does allow a couple of different things to happen though. Number one, it kind of, in a negative way, it makes the slide a little bit more jumpy, I suppose. Not quite as smooth because it's got that movement. Although I think a lot of the lack of smoothness actually comes from the hammer hitting the blowback unit. If you cycle the slide slowly, it gets stuck there. No issue when you're actually firing it. But something to note is it's not as smooth as some other guns. It kind of gets stuck. But yeah, fine when firing as normal. It's just when you're fiddling with it. The good thing about this is it forced TM to move the hop adjustment rather than inside on the bottom where you'd have to take the slide off to access it. Because of this rotating barrel system getting in the way, they actually put it on the side, which means you won't be able to see this probably, but you can. Let's see. We can get in there. There's actually a little dial inside the chamber, and that is how the hop up is adjusted directly from the chamber. There you can see the little grey hop wheel. I believe it's down for more hop and up for less hop. Easy enough to get into. If you've got massive fingers, you can just use a screwdriver. But it's a nice change from the regular ones. We have to take the slide off. Although I'm going to show you how to do that now anyway, because the inside assembly is quite interesting. The gun doesn't have to be cocked. You simply pull down these two levers just like a Glock. So pull them down, push the slide off, and it comes straight off. Lots of interesting things to show you. Inside you've got this large chamber block, which is what causes the barrel to rotate. It's got a very chunky recoil spring sort of guide rod, so we can take that block off. That's totally separate. And then we have our recoil rod with this big sort of plunger buffer kind of system. We then have, you have to rotate it to get it out. We then have the inner barrel with the hop up located on the side, as I said. And we have the plastic outer barrel, which isn't the normal kind of one that sort of the inner clicks into it. It just kind of sits over it. Nicely made, no signs of damage or anything. And then you get to the inside of the slide, which is actually very heavy, which probably gives it its nice snappy kick and good durability. We've got a metal piece where the slide locks back, so it's not going to be eating away at the plastic the whole time, which is a big pain with Glocks and high cappers, etc. You can see the mechanism here for the decocker. It's got a very large blowback sort of cylinder, which again gives it its big snappy kick, much larger than older designs, and it's all very well designed. Unlike the FM57, it's very durable, no rattle, no movement in the slide rails. It's perfectly put together. And also, like I said, the front is reinforced with metal to hopefully stop the front of the slide cracking. I've seen a couple of spare slides for sale in various places, so it's nice to know that that it is possible to get them in the event of it ever breaking. But I think they're pretty durable. Putting it back together is not as easy as something like a Glock. Kind of have to put your guide rod in, and then just sort of work that in until it's sitting in there properly, and then slide it back on the frame. You don't actually have to pull it all the way back, you just have to push the barrel. That's what kind of completes the locking closed. You just push the barrel and it rotates. There you go. Rotates and locks it back in. So yeah, very solid. Now for the frame, which is really good because you can see how thick this plastic is. Much thicker than other TM pistol designs. If I compare here to the FM57, you can see how much thicker the PX4, the plastic is, compared to that 5.7. So this has not very much flex. It's very good considering how thick it is, but this is absolutely solid. No flex whatsoever. It feels incredibly tough. Totally, it's like it's one molded bit of plastic. It's like there's no magazine well. It's totally solid. No flex, no movement. And that's really the first thing I noticed. There is no movement in this frame at all. It is very well built. Inside you can see it's got a metal skeleton, meaning even the front portion has no movement. I've never come across a polymer frame that has this much rigidity and strength. Really tough. It really gives you a lot of confidence this is going to last a while. As you can see, you've got the slide rails, quite chunky slide rails, stainless or sort of silver plated trigger bar, which looks pretty cool. And some of the other internals are also silver. Yeah, it all works very smoothly. Got a very nice smooth double action. And a nice light single action too. Great trigger. One of the best stock double action triggers you can get. Definitely better than something like a WE or a KJ Works. Really nice smooth trigger. So standard 20mm rail. As you'd expect. It's only got one slot, so you need to make sure your flashlight actually fits. My particular one, my M6 flashlight, is too long for this. It kind of won't quite click in properly, but I'm sure most, Surefires, most standard kind of size flashlights will work perfectly fine. As I said, we've got those teardrop shaped takedown levers, very much like a Glock. It kind of fits in where your finger is. If you're not on the trigger, it kind of slots into there, which is good. Again, I really can't emphasize how tough this feels. Really nice, hard plastic. Not flexible at all. Really good step up from the Glocks. Got some trademarks and a serial number, which matches the slide in the barrel on the metal tag on the bottom here. Very faint seam lines around. but nowhere near as bad as on the FM57. If we have a quick comparison here, you can see how much more visible they are on the FN, and there is no seam line along the top of the pistol, unlike the FM57, so a better built pistol, 100%. Trigger guard's nicely rounded. It doesn't have any of that serration on the front for sort of a two-handed grip like that, but I'd never do that anyway. I think that's really uncomfortable, so I'm happy with it like that. The trigger's really nice and crisp, nicely cast, no seam line, metal trigger. Yeah, I'm not sure if I said about the metal parts, but metal tag, metal guide rod, sights metal, decocker, hammer metal, pins metal, slide release on the other side is metal, trigger metal, anything that's crucial that should be metal is metal. Moving back, we've got some nice texturing, not too aggressive, really nice sort of checkering on the front strap and the back strap, just enough to get a good grip, but not too aggressive like the FM57. This whole rear portion of the slide is metal, so slide rails and this kind of semicircle bit sits in the frame and is metal, which gives it a nice solid sort of feel from the back, because again there's no movement, no flex. This will make a good ambidextrous pistol because the the magazine release is ambidextrous. Well, not out of the box, but it's reversible, so you can swap that to the other side nice and easily. And you've obviously got your ambidextrous decocker. Magazine release is a little small for my tastes. My thumb obviously isn't that big, so I can't quite reach it. I can reach all the controls except that magazine release. But it's not a big deal. That should mean it shouldn't release accidentally when it's in your holster. Got some usual Tokyo Marui trays on the side, ASGK markings, and then we have our PX4 custom markings, as well as a fake Beretta logo, rather than the sort of arrows. I think they're like spears or arrows on the Beretta one, whereas these are little swords. But it doesn't really look too off. Looks good enough to make it's a decent enough replication. I've already shown you the back straps. I can show you under there. Kind of shows you how well built the frame is. There's so much reinforcement to everything. It really is the best feeling polymer frame in terms of toughness that I've had. There are certain frames like the Garda Glock ones that might actually feel nicer with a nylon kind of material, but for durability this is perfect. Very happy with it. Already gone over the magazine, metal, 25 rounds. Make sure you stack them properly, otherwise they can get jammed, but nothing too interesting there. So hopefully this review hasn't been quite as long as the my usual 30-minute kind of ones. Hopefully I've covered everything. If there's anything else, actually I don't think I set up the slide lock. Slide lock's a little sharp, but it sticks out just about enough to solidly release the slide. So yeah, it's all right there. Slightly different colour to everything else, and it's slightly worn. So that's not great, but does its job. It's fine. I've actually read about these snapping before, although I believe that was a problem that they fixed on newer versions of this. I bought this a couple of months ago, so this should be a newer version, and no issues whatsoever with this gun. All I really want to do is buy some night sights and more magazines with the extended bumper. FPS of this pistol is pretty much the mid kind of range for a TM. The barrel isn't particularly long. If we compare it to the 5.7, you can see that the barrel isn't really, it's almost an inch shorter. With my Abbey Ultra Gas /01 Pro Gas, it's putting out about 270, 280, which is perfectly respectable for a pistol, and the excellent hop-up means it shoots really straight. Unlike some other pistols, where on their sort of maximum range you get an upwards curve, so the BB will hit above the sights. This almost shoots kind of low and then curves up, and it's very flat shooting. So yeah, very happy with how it shoots. Gas efficiency is fantastic. Not quite as good as the 5.7 because it's a standard size mag, but you'll easily get two magazines worth of BBs for each fill of gas. And magazines are available from quite a few different shops, so you shouldn't have a problem with finding magazines. It'll also take the WE PX4 mags, but these are better quality. So yeah, FPS is good. I wouldn't actually have an issue using green gas in one of these. Definitely not Garda gas. I wouldn't use that in most plastic pistols, but green gas, I'm sure it would have it quite happily. So yeah, pretty much the perfect skirmish pistol from my point of view. As I said, cycle is very crisp and snappy. Magazine's a little cold, so this isn't the best representation. But this is with 01 Pro Gas. You can see it kind of shakes my arm. It's a really good combination of snappiness and kick. So it's a very speedy cycle, but kicks very hard as well. If I give you a little first person view, a little bit of gas spray. Yeah, very good kick. So I'm very happy with it in regards to that. I'm sure on green gas it would be really good. A lot of fun. If we compare slide cycle speeds to the 5.7 here, you can see that it snaps a lot faster. Well, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but no, you can't really tell. Not quite as much kick as the 5.7, but it's actually a little more resistant to cooldown with the lighter slide. So overall, it is my favourite TM gas pistol. I'd say anyone looking for a reliable skirmish pistol, you could not do much better than this. Obviously, lots of upgrades available if you want to stick your metal slides on or whatever, but as it is, it's the best pistol I've, had the pleasure of owning. Costs about £150, so it's not the cheapest TM available, but it's reliable, it's durable, and as I said, it's probably the best TM make, although I've got an XDM on the way and I'll be reviewing one of those. Okay, thank you for watching.